Hello, I'm John Bachman. We'll update you on the latest with the Germanwings crash in the Alps in a moment. But first, several reports now and several sources say that a member of the U.S. National Guard and his cousin have been arrested for trying to join ISIS. According to CBS, the two plan to carry out an attack on a military base in Illinois. The National Guard says they arrested the 22-year-old guardsman at Chicago's Midway Airport last night. He was supposedly on his way to Egypt. Officials believe he may have then trying to travel to Syria, where he could join up with ISIS. Recovery efforts continue today after officials confirmed that the co-pilot deliberately crashed that Germanwings plane into the French Alps. Rescue workers continue to sift through the debris and wreckage this afternoon. Officials say they'll have to use DNA testing to identify many of the victims. Also happening today, family members of the 150 victims made their way to the crash site, and now we are hearing from the father of an American killed on that flight named Robert Oliver. His dad says it's still too early for him to visit the scene of the crash.
We would like to go, but when something can be identified, one of their belongings can be identified, then of course we would like to go.
And that's the father of the 37-year-old American crash victim, Robert Oliver. The other two American victims are a mother and her daughter. Emily Selke had just graduated from Drexel University in Philadelphia. Her mother, Yvonne, worked as a government contractor for Booz Allen Hamilton in Washington, D.C. In Indiana, Governor Mike Pence says there's an HIV emergency among drug addicts, so he's authorizing a short-term needle exchange.
As I stand here today, we have 79 confirmed cases, and more testing is being done. And we expect that number to go up.
Well, Pence also called for officials to launch a public awareness campaign. Officials will focus on providing drug treatment, hosting safe sex seminars, and enhancing access to HIV testing and treatment. Former Congressman Jesse Jackson has now been released from a federal prison. The Illinois Democrat and son of the civil rights leader was sent to prison back in 2013. He pleaded guilty to using campaign funds for personal spending. He was supposed to be released later this year, but officials are letting him finish his sentence at a halfway house. He'll still face 3 years probation and 500 hours of community service after that. In Boston, the murder trial of former NFL star Aaron Hernandez is set to start at any moment now. This after officials had to evacuate the courthouse this afternoon following a bomb threat there. And Pope Francis puts the White House on his itinerary for his visit to the U.S. later this year. The pontiff announced today that he will meet with President Obama on September 23rd. The White House says the president and Pope Francis will talk about caring for the poor, advancing economic opportunity, and the environment. This will be the Pope's first trip to the U.S. as the pontiff. That's your Newsmax Now update. We'll have more for you coming up in 30 minutes. We'll now send it back to Midpoint with Ed Berliner.